Born in Rochester, New York, April 17, 1918.
Grace Kennedy was a patriot, a World War II veteran of the Women's Army Corps.
Well, I had a brother that was in the Air Force, and he was having such a good time telling me all the good times all over the United States, and he's getting ready to go overseas. He said, "Boy, sis, you don't know what you're missing." So he asked me to meet him when I was saying that I joined the service then.
In December 2009, Grace was viciously murdered inside her Bryan, Ohio home, the first murder in the city in 61 years.
Yes, ma'am. Do you have an officer in the area of South Point?
I can get one over there, sir. What's going on?
I was door dashing that night
They're constantly crossing the center line going south on Glen.
because it was Christmas break.
And you said it was a black. What kind of car? I'm sorry.
Black Ford Escape.
I remember it was a Monday night because I'm a big Miami Dolphins fan, and they were playing Monday night, so I wanted to catch the second half.
It was December 27th, 2021.
He admitted being with her.
Sissy, she was my big sister, and it's like I was just her little brother, and we always had a close relationship.
It was September 8th, 1996. James Worley was 37, a convicted kidnapper back on the streets. Claudia Sissy Tinsley, 24 years old, working the same avenues of North Toledo.
And my mom was always just saying that it's just the things she's doing is getting worse, and it's going to basically catch up to her.
Their paths would cross and end in Claudia's disappearance. The sister, daughter, mother of 3, gone forever.
He said he had picked her up somewhere around the Summit Cherry area after a festival. She got in the car, they made several stops, they drove around for a little while.
Worley details their meeting in a 105-page report he sent me in April. He says Claudia's case is when police began harassing him, leading up to what he calls a frame job for Sierra Joggin's murder in 2016. I visited Worley on death row to ask him myself.
You met Claudia when you were leaving the German-American Festival.
Yes.
And you picked her up. She took you home to meet her mother?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, not to meet her. We went several places, and along the way of stopping at in front of, like along the curb, and she'd get out or they'd walk up to the car. She talked to her friends and so forth, and eventually we ended up going over to her mom's home, and I said, "What should I do?" She said, "Well, come on in." And so I went in with her, and her mom's there, and there were some kids there, and maybe a couple other adults. And we were there for, I would think, no more than 10 minutes or so, and we left. And it was at that point in time, as you read in my one, that the mother, wrote down my license plate number. And that's how I got involved in this whole thing.
I don't know if my sister had told her that she had a bad feeling, or it was just my mom had a bad feeling. But she pretty much begged her not to get in the car, not to go, and she just watched her get in the car, drive off, and that was the last thing she had in her mind was her leaving, and she just had a feeling she's never going to see her again.
It sounds like it wasn't typical at all, that she just had some sort of suspicion. Her mother did ask her, don't go with this guy. Maybe she gave it to her mom just, to try to calm her mind. They were able to talk to a witness who saw Worley and Claudia together.
So when's the last time that you saw Claudia?
That was the only time.
When was the last, so you guys went off to have oral sex after her mom's house?
Yes.
Okay, and then you dropped her off?
And that was it.
And you don't remember where you dropped her off?
No.
And did you remember or a few days later when they had questioned you about where?
They didn't get hold of me until approximately, I would say, within a week or 10 days.
Yeah.
The detective Dumas called me, and he asked if I was willing to talk with him. I said, sure. He said that they were looking for her, and I said, well, why? What has she done? And he said, well, her mother is worried about her. She hasn't seen her. And so I went down and I spoke with Dumas, and while I was there, he told me, he said, this isn't the first time this has happened with Claudia.
Right. But did you drive the blue Chevy that was described, and did you have a blue Chevy that she was last seen in? At the time?
I know that my new car that I bought during the first 3 years that I had it spent over a year in the shop because I kept breaking down. And the dealership was giving me cars to drive while I was in the shop. Mm-hmm. And I want to say that it was a blue car, but I'm not sure if it was a Chevy or not.
It was this blue 1995 Chevy Beretta Worley was driving on September 8th, with the same license plate number Claudia Tinsley asked her mother to write down.
The investigators followed up with that plate, found out it came back to a leasing company, and that leasing company gave them the person it was rented to, and that was James Worley.
So was James Worley the last person seen with Claudia Tinsley?
Yes. He is the last person we know of that's seen her.
And you were the last person to see her alive.
Now, who said that?
Well, her missing persons report says that she was last seen getting into a blue Chevy.
That was the mother jotted down my license plate number.
And she was never seen again.
According to
the police.
According to the mother.
What stood out about him that makes him so prominent in these files?
We were able to verify the fact that he did drive around with her, which would be a little unusual if you're simply going to engage a prostitute. He was with her probably 40 minutes, making several trips. Seems a little unusual to me that if you're simply out for sex, that you're going to drive around with this person, making different stops throughout the North End. It's not common. It wouldn't be regular. It seemed like he was more interested than just a sexual encounter.
Worley was questioned, the car tested, but there was no sign of Claudia. The case dried up until the year 2000, when Worley was again brought in for questioning. This time, police had a surprise for him.
I never even really, after a while, even thought about her until detectives were at my door 4 years later.
With the assistance of Fulton County, they were preparing to do a search warrant at his residence.
Detectives scoured Worley's property in Fulton County for Claudia. It's the same place he would kill Sierra Joggin 16 years later.
You know, it was a possibility. They had never explored the possibility that he may have taken her out there. So I think at that point they thought, well, we probably should have considered it, and let's do that.
They found nothing connecting Worley to Claudia. They did find some marijuana plants he was growing, and Worley served another 2 years for that. 22 more years have come and gone. Never enough evidence to charge Worley for Claudia's disappearance, and with no body or witnesses, there may never be.
You know, it would take somebody that this person has talked to and told them that, hey, this is what I've done. And we don't have that yet.
Claudia Tinsley's mom died of cancer in 2018 without finding her daughter.
I think in her mind she knew that she was never going to come home, and we probably were never going to find her.
And Claudia would have turned 50 years old just a few days ago.
I really think that maybe if they would have found her alive or something, it would have been a turning point. Maybe it would have scared her straight, but she never got that chance.
It's definitely a magical time of the year. This time of year, it gets to be one of our busiest.
I'm a day late and $1 short.
You're fine. They will go out today.
Hey, thank you, thank you.
They come in, they don't even need to see my name tag. They know who I am. I talk to a lot of people, and they come down here generations. They come down here for generations.
I need some Christmas stamps.
Okay, I got plenty.
We've got an extraordinary group of employees. They're working harder than Santa's elves right now. At this time of year, it gets to be one of our busiest, with having our little Rudolph postmark that we cancel the stamps with.
And when you got a lot of them coming in, you got to learn how to do them.
Thank you, Mark.
Right, there you go, thank you.
And it does light up their day when little kids want to come out and hand their letters right to them.
If there is a special little one out there, if he wants to or she wants to, I'll let him do the little click. Their faces just light up. And that's what it's about.
It's not a lot.
Everybody's coming together. They seem to throw away their meanness for the year, so to speak, maybe. And they come together. They're a group. We are united. We're united.
Cedar Point, America's roller coaster. Rides, good times, sunshine. But there's a darker side and a lot of secrets. Levin Investigates has learned that over the past 5 years, the Sandusky Police Department has investigated 27 sexual assault allegations here at the Cedar Point Employee Housing Unit, 10 in the last year alone.
And in talking to some of the women, their stories have disturbing similarities.
I woke up to him inside of me, and I pushed him away, and I just got up and I just left. And then I told my mom, I called my mom, and I was like, this is like Mother's Day. Like, she shouldn't be able to get this call on Mother's Day. Like, her only daughter.
My sweater shawl thing was on the floor with my shirt, and I didn't know where my pants were. And I woke up and there was a condom stuck to my leg.
I had my door unlocked to go back and forth in the bathroom getting ready for bed, and I was taking out my contacts, and he just walked in, like, unannounced, and like, he grabbed me and pushed me up against the bed.
32 men are listed as suspects by Sandusky police in the 27 sexual assault reports. We don't know what many of the suspects look like. That's because they've never been arrested or charged with a crime. Of the 3 men charged with a crime, one name stands out, Donnell Folks. He's in prison for sexual battery. Alexander Makupson is charged with sexual imposition and still awaiting trial for an incident that took place in 2018. The alleged assaults have taken place in a series of employee dorms and apartments near downtown Sandusky. Those units did not receive positive reviews from most people we interviewed.
We went back to the dorm and realized that, like, we can't, like, unpack anything because the place was just dirty. They had, like, spiders everywhere in the corners. They had, like, cobwebs all over.
There's a lot of drugs. There's a lot of alcohol.
And multiple people told us that there's little security. Now, we wanted to talk to Cedar Point officials and the Cedar Point police chief, but our request for an interview was declined. We told a spokesman that we wanted to talk about numerous sexual assault reports, but we're told that there's no interview availability. The fact is, we simply don't know the true number of sexual assaults inside the Cedar Point employee housing units.
Cedar Point police have not turned over any of its incident reports, arguing it's a private force and not subject to records law.